Hello friends, my name is Bhautik. Today is the 23rd of Today is the 23rd of April. I am going to tell you about my book that I am reading. Yeah, Power versus Force. Critical Advance in Knowledge. This is the first chapter of this book. The evolution of this work, which began the 1965, was fostered by the developments in numerical scientific fields, but a few of them were of the special importance. Clinical research on the physiology of the nervous system and holistic functioning of the human organism resulted in the development in the 1970s of a new science of the new science of neurologists. Meanwhile, in the technological arena, computers were being designed that were capable of the millions of calculations in milliseconds, making new tools of artificial intelligence possible. This is adapted access to formally incredible messages of the data forced a revolutionary perspective on natural phenomena. Chow's theory similarly in the theoretical science, quantum mechanism led to the advanced theoretical physics. Through the association mechanism, mathematics, a whole new study of the nominal dynamics emerged. This was one of the most far-reaching development of the modern science. The long-term impact of the which has yet to be realized. Neurological exposed for the first time in the intimate connection between the mind and body, elevating the mind thinks with the body itself. Therefore, it provided an avenue for the exploration of the ways consciousness reveals itself in the suitable mechanism behind this disease process. Advanced computer permitting the description of vast amount of the data through the graphics is called unseparated system within what had been ignored by the Newton's physics as an indissociable of the mean glass data. Theoretically, in the diverse field, were suddenly able to intimate current ways of understanding data that had been considered incoherent of the non-linear. It was diffuse or characteristic and therefore incredible thought conversation probabilistic logical theory and mathematics analysis of the incoherent data in define the hidden energies params or any kind of things behind the apparently random natural phenomena. Computer graphics clearly demonstrated in the designing of the effort fields the impact of potential and analyzing the supportably by the system in the such disrespect areas of the fluid mechanics, human biology, and stellar astronomy approach to be limitless. But the public has remained generally unaware of the field of nominal dynamics aspect of the appearance in the marketplace of some time into judging new computer graphics patterns generated by the fractal geometry. During the era of perplexing these relevance, linear science had grown progressively divorced from the concur with the basics of life itself. All life processes are in fact non-linear. This isolate was the also characteristics of the medicine which when present with the amazing discoveries of the neologists merely ignored the information because it had been no context, no polygram or reality with the which of the compressed it medicine had forgotten that that is it was the it was an art, and that science was merely to tool of the art. Within the medicine, physiatry and had always been held a distance by traditionals because it in dealing with the inscrutable of human life it appears less scientific. That is the from the Newton's viewpoint. Academic Fistriat and in fact has made major scientific breakthrough in the physiopharmacology since the 1950s. However, it remains the most nonlinear area of medicine, examining such subjects as injection, de- decision making, and the whole phenomena of the life as a process. Although it in the academic physics lecture that there is little mention of the such thing as love, meaning, value, or will, the physiastric discipline at least the easy somewhere larger view of men than other traditional medical fields do. Regardless of the what branch of inquiry one stand from physiosophy, political theory, and the theology, all avenues of the investigation eventually converge at a common meeting point: the quest for the organized understanding of the nature of pure consciousness. But all the major enterprise in human knowledge disturb above even neologists and non-linear dynamics hated at this last great barrier of the human knowledge, the investigation of the nature of consciousness is self. It is true that some advanced thinkers did go beyond the parameters of the respective fields and begin ask questions about the relationship between the universe, science, and consciousness in its experience as mind. Will refer to their theories and their impact on the advanced human understanding. We processed the this of the parents' work derives from the combination these several scientific disciplines into the methodology both elegantly simple and rewinding. We have thereby found the consciousness can indeed be investigated, although no roadmap for such a study have thus far been available. Research into the subject has produced its own design, and with it the context needed to compare its findings. Inasmuch of as everything in the universe is contest with everything else, it isn't surprising that one of the primary objectives of this study, a map of the energy fields of consciousness, would correctable with and be corrected by all avenues of the investigation, uniting the diversity of the human experience and its experience of in all economic paradigm, such as insight can bypass the artificial dichotomy between the subject and object, transcending the limited viewpoint that created the illusion of duality. The subjective and objective are in fact one and the same. One can be demonstrated without the restoring to non-linear equation or computer graphics. By the in defining the subjective and objective are as the same, we are able to translate by the constraints of the concept of time, which by its very definition is the measure of hierarchy of the comparison of the natural of life, is scarcely in its experience as the human experience, if in equating the subjective and objective are one and the same, then we can find the answer to all questions by the merely looking within the man himself, by simply recording the observation. We can see a grand picture emerged on that sees no limitation with the respect to future investigation. Each of us possesses a computer for far more advanced than the most elaborate artificial intelligence mechanic available, one that available at any time, the human mind itself. The basic functions of the any measuring device is simply to the give a signal indicating the dedication by the instruments of silent change. In the experiments to be described in the books, the reaction of the human body provided such a signal of change in condition as will be seen. The body can discern to the finest degree the difference between that which is supportive of the life that which is not. This isn't surprising. After all, living things react positively to what is a life supportive and negatively to what is not. This is a fundamental mechanism of the survival inherent in all life forms, the capacity to detect a change and react correctively. Thus, trees become a smaller yet higher evolution that oxygen in a auto space become a scanner. Human protoplasm is far more sensitive than of the tree. The methodology proceeding from the study of non-linear dynamics, which we employed in this work of the developing a map of fields of human consciousness is known as a attractor research. It's concerned with the identification of the power range of energy field utilises the critical point analysis. Critical point analysis is the technique derived from the fact that that in a highly complex system there is a specific critical point at which the smallest input will be returned result in the greatest chance for incidents. The great genres of the windmill can be hit by the lightly touching the right escape mechanism, and it's possible to place the Rinat incomotive if you know exactly where to put your finger. Non-linear dynamics enable these significance patterns to be identified in the complex presentation even when they are obscured by the inheritance of sheer mass of the data in the it discover the relevance in what the world described as a irrelevant using the entirely different approach and totally different method of a problem resolution from the ones which of the word formal. The world conveniently assumes that the processing of the of probables requirements stemming from the known and moving on the unknown. The answer in the time of sequence following definitive steps and logical progression. Non-linear dynamics move in the opposite direction from the unknown to known. It operates within a different paradigm of the casualties. The problem is the seen as one of the definition and the excess rather than of logical subsequence in the solving a problem in different equations. But before we attempt to define a question of this study future further, let's examine some of the material we have introduced in general details. Attractor. Attractor is the name given to identifiable pattern that emerge from a seemingly unmeaningful mass of data. There is the hidden courage in the all that appears in with was the first demonstrated in the nature by the Edward Lorenz. Lorenz studied the computer graphics derived from the weather patterns over long courses of time, and attractor pattern he defined is now quite famous knowledge about Lorenz butterfly. There are the different type of attractor are demonstrated by the different name of the entrance. Strange attractor, but most important of to our research in the direct discovery that some patterns are very powerful and others are much weaker. There's a critical point that differentiates the two distinct classes. This phenomena is the parallel and core in the high and low energies bounds in the mathematics of the chemical bond. Field of dominance. A field of dominance is exhibited by the high energy pattern in their influence over weak ones. This may be linked to the consciousness of the small magnetic field within the much larger field of the Chinese electromagnetic, and the phenomenological universe is the expression of the interaction of endless attractor pattern of the weighing strengths. The undealing complexes of the life are the reflection of the endless reverberation of the argument, and the diminutions of these fields, compounded by their harmonic and other interaction. Critical points analysis. The traditional Newton concept of the causality had executed all such a non-demonstrative data because such information didn't fit into its paradigms. With the discoveries of the instrument Hezebrock, the Bohr, and other great innovators, however, our model of the universe expected rapidly. Advanced theoretical physicians demonstrated that everything in the universe is doubly dependent upon the everything else. The classic Newtonian from the four-dimensional universe is often described as a giant clockwork with the three dimensions of the space manifesting linear process in time. If we look at an even simpler clockwork, we all then notice that some grades move slowly ponderously, while the others move very rapidly with a tiny balance twirling about the escape mechanism seesaw back and forth. To place pressure on one of the large moving gears would have no effect on the mechanism. However, somewhere there is the delicate balance mechanism at which the silent touch stop an entire device. This is identified by the critical points where the latest force expected the greater effect. Causality. Within the observable words, causality has conveniently been pressured by to work in the following manner: A, B, C. This is called the deterministic linear sequence. Like a billiard balls sequence strictly each other. The impact of the presumption perception of that A occurs, B occurs, and C. That A occurs, B occurs, C. But our own our own research indicate that causality operator in the completely different manner. From this diagram, we see that ABC with unbelievable results. In the sequence ABC, which is an observable phenomena within the measurable three-dimensional world, the typical problems the world attempts to deal with exist on the observable level of A, B, C, but our work is find the inheritable attempt pattern that ABC out of which ABC occurs. Attackers pattern, operators and overable events. In this simple diagram, the operators translate the both of the observable and the non-observable. We might picture them as the rainbow, bring the deterministic and the non-deterministic elements. The existence of the operator can be inferred by the asking the questions. What incorporates both the possible and the impossible, the known and the unknown. That is what is the matrix of all possibility. This description of the how the universe works in across within the theories of the physicist David Bohm, who has described the holographic universe within an invisible implement and manifest the applicated order. It's important to note that this scientific insight corresponds with the view of the reality explained the history by the intelligent stage who have involved the beyond the consciousness to state of pure awareness. Bohm asserts that beyond Bohm postulated a source of the beyond both of explicable and the implicate realms with very much like the state of pure awareness described by the stage. The advent of the artificial intelligence supercomputer has allowed the application of the theories of non-linear dynamics to be applied to the study of the brain function through the techniques of neurophysiologic modeling. The function of memory is escapely being studied by the means of the natural models, among which the attractor networks has been identified. Conclusion of the current research are that the brain's natural networks act as a attra- attractors so that the system does not behave in the random fashion overall, although each individual natures may behave randomly. Neuron model of consciousness described by a class of natural networks called the constraint satisfaction system. In this system, the network of interconnected neurons units operation within a series of limits and thus set up attractor patterns, some of the which are not being identified with physiology. Psychopathology. This kind of modeling corrected the behavior with the physiology and parallels the result of our neurologistic muscle testing, demonstrating the connection between mind and body in the terms of derived from the force theory. The clinical study described in the following pages has identified a phase space encompassing the full range of the evolution of human consciousness. Within the range of numerous attractor pattern of the increasing the power has been designed by these patterns represent energy field that are qualities of a consciousness itself rather than of any particular individual, as is shown by their occurrence across the large population over long period of time, independent of the tester or subjects. The evolution of conscious and a development of human society can be displayed in the mathematical terms of non-linear dynamics. Our studies concern the itself with a limited set of the parameters of consciousness that we celebrate from the 1 to 100, 1000. The number represents the logarithms to base 10. The power of the representative field, the entire field or phase space of the consciousness itself in unlimited going on the infinity, the range of the 1 to 600. That is spreading the domain of the vast majority of human experience is the primary scope of this study. The level from the 60 to 600 to 1000, which is the realm of a non-ordinary evolution of the element stages and the highest spiritual state will also be described. Within the total field studies, subsequent pattern emerged identifying the processive power of the attractor field which there were local variations, but the global consistency strange attractor can be of the either high or low energies. An critical point in our data appeared to be the child celebration range of 200, below which the power of attractor could be described as the weak negative, above the which is the strong or positive. By the time we reach the celebration of the 600s, the attractor was enormously powerful, an important element of a choice theory. Which is the helpful in the understanding their evolution of consciousness in the law of sensitive dependence on intel conditions. This refers to a fact that an extremely minute variation over a course of time can have the effect of producing a profound change, much as a shape whose bearing is one degree of compass will eventually find itself hundreds of miles of course. This phenomena which we will refer to in more details later, an essential mechanism of all evolution and also underline the potential of the creative process. In the overview, we can see that from time immemorial man has tried to make sense of enormous complexity and frequently of human behavior. A multitude of the system has been constructed to try to make that which is the to make sense as ordinary meant to be definable in terms that are linear, logical, and rational, but the process and therefore the experience of life itself is organic. This that is so say non-linear by definition. This is the source of man's inscalable intellectual functional durations. In this study, however, test response were independent of our subjects' belief system or intellectual content, what emerged, what were pattern of the energy fields that were expected from the consciousness itself, irrespective of the individual identities. In common left brain, right brain, we could say that the test subject reacted globally to the erector fields, regardless of the individual variation of their left brain logic, reasons, or a thought system. The result of the study indicate that a profoundly powerful pattern organized the human behavior. We can intuit, intuit them an infinite dominance of the infinite potential consciousness itself, within the which there is an enormously powerful attractor field organizing all of human behavior into what is intended to luminous within the giant attractor field are subsequential fields of a progressively less energy and power. These fields in turn dominate behavior so that definable patterns are consistent across the place and the time throughout the human history. Interaction of these variation within the attractor fields make up the history of civilization and mankind. A side study note here reported indicate that the animal and vegetable kingdoms are so controlled by the attractor fields of the hierarchic power as well. Our study correctly well with the Rupesh Sikledal's morphological fields, hypnosis as well as with the Karl Pribram's holographic model of the brain-mind functions. Note that in the holographic universe, that achievement of every individual contribute to the advancement as well being of the whole. Our study also corrects with the conclusion reacted by the Nobelist Sir John Eccles that the brain acts as a receiving set of energy pattern residing in the mind itself, which exists as a consciousness expressed in the form of thought. It's the vanity of the ego that can climb throughout the mind. The genius, of the other hand, commonly attribute the source of creative lapse of awakeness to the basis of consciousness, which has traditionally been called divinity. This was about the first chapter. The name is the chapter. It was the critical advance in knowledge. This was all about it, and we will start about the second second chapter, which is the history and mythology. Chapter 2. Take while and we will start it. So let's start it with the history and methodology of the power. The basis of this work is research done over the 20 years period involving the millions of celebrations of the thousands of test subjects of all ages and personality type and from all walks of life by design the study is clinically in the method and thus has a widespread pigmented indicators because the testing method is valid in application of all forms of the human expression. Celebrations have successfully been taken from the literature, articular art, science, world event, and the complexities of the human relationship. The, the test space for the determination of the data is the totality of the human expression throughout all time. Mentally test the subject ranged from what the word called normal to the fairly live pediatric patient subject were tested in Canada, the United States, Mexico, and throughout the South America and North Europe. There were all nationalities, ethics backgrounds, and religions ranging in the age from the children to elder in their 90s as the covered a wide spectrum of physical and emotional health. Subjects were tested individually and in a group by the many different testers and groups of the testers. In general, the results were identical. The reproducible, the fulfilling the fundamental requirement of the scientific method reflected the explanation capabilities. Subjects were selected at the random tested in the wide array of the physical and behavioral setting on the top of mountains and the seashores, holiday parties, and during the course of every work in the moments of joy and moments of sorrow. None of these circumstances affected the test result which were found to be universally consistent in irrespective of extraneous factor with the singular expectation of the methodology of the testing procedure itself. Because of the significance of this factor, the testing method will be described in the details below. Historical background. We will talk about the historical background. What is the historical background of this? We will talk about it. In 1971, three physiopsychiatrists published in the definitive study of the muscle testing. Dr. George Goodhart of Detroit Mechanism had studied muscle testing techniques expectively in his clinical practice and made the background breakthrough the divorce that the strength of or weakness of very muscle was the connected to the health of pathology of specific corresponding body again. He featured determined that each individual muscle was the associated with an acute meridian and the corrected his work with that of the physical flexion. One of the medical scientific significance of the equilibrable meridionals. By the 1976, Dr. Goodhart's book applied the Nesiology had reached in the 12th edition. Her began to take the technique to his colloquies and also published monthly research tapes. His work was rapidly picked up by others, which led to the formation of the International Colleges of Applied Neurology, many members of which also beyond the Academy of Preventive Medicine. Through the expression of the development of the field was delegated by the David Boulder in the extensive volume of Applied Nesiology, also published in the 1976. The most striking finding of the neurologist intellectually was the clear demonstration of the muscle intensely become the weak when the body is exposed to the harmful stimuli. For the instance, if patient with a functional hypocinema put sugar on his tongue upon the muscle testing, the dilatation muscle, the one usually used as the indicator muscle, instantly went weak. Accordingly, it was discovered that the substance that was therapeutic of the body made the muscles instantly become strong. Because the weakness of any particular muscle indicate the presence of a pathologic process in the corresponding organ. It was a highly useful clinical tool to detect disease. Thousands of practitioners began to use the method. The data rapidly accumulated, the showing the nosology to be an important and reliable diagnostic techniques that could summary minor the patient's response to the treatment as well as the diagnosis. The found the widespread technique found the widespread acceptance among the professionals from the many disciplines, and although never came on the mainstream medicine, it was the use extensive by the holistically oriented physician. One of these was Dr. John Diamond, is a psychiatrist who began to use neurology in diagnosing and the treating patient. He led this extended use for the neurologist as the behavior of nosology, while other investigators were reaching the usefulness of the method in the detecting all Alzheimer's natural discovered and response to the medicines. Dr. Diamond used to technique to reach the beneficial of adverse effect of a great variety of the and physiological stimuli such art from a music, facial expression, voice modulation, and emotional stress. He was an excellent teacher, and his seminars were extremely beautiful. In addition to its inclusive applicability, the test was a quick, simple, easy to perform, and highly desired. All the research confirmed the replicability of the test results from the example, and artificial sweetener made ever subject test with whether the place on the top held in the package adjustment to the solar pleasures of hidden in plain envelope, the content of which neither the tester nor the subject knew. That the body responded even when the mind was native was most impressive. Most particulars did their own verification research, placing the various substance in plain numbered envelope was, and having a native second person test there, the overwhelming consciousness and the body would indeed responsively express even when the conscious mind was unaware. This kind of chapter includes in the book of Power versus Force. Today we will go to the two chapters. First one is about the history, and first one is about the critical advances and in knowledge, and we will see about the Second one is about the history and methodology. And next lecture we will talk about the different kinds of lectures. Thank you.